Hey you guys, my name is Lily and today I'm going to be sharing 16 things that I've learned at age 16. So, today is December the 29th and it's currently like 11:03 p.m. So I have about 57 minutes left of being 16 years old. I just took a shower and I had this idea in the shower. I saw one of these videos a long time ago. Somebody did like 17 things I learned at 17. And so I wanted to do one with me being 16 since it is my last day. So I've written down some things that I've learned and I wanted to share these things with y'all. I wanted to say that these are things that I'm just now learning at my age. So if you've never even thought of these things, or if you thought of these things 10 years ago, that's awesome. This is just where I'm at, and so I want to share that. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I've learned at age 16 is that God is sovereign through everything. I feel like I've been mentally everywhere this year, but as I look back at all the times when I felt like God wasn't present, he was right there in the middle of it. And so God truly is sovereign and present and good through everything. Like, my circumstances don't define how good God is, but God can define how good my circumstances are if I allow him to, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Number 2 is that it's okay to not always have the answer to everything. I feel like my whole life when anyone has presented me a problem or come to me for advice, my initial reaction is to give them advice back or to give them a solution to whatever they're going through. And sometimes that's not what they need. Sometimes they just need to sit back and talk to me and me listen. And I've learned that through me going through things this year and going to people and them giving me advice. And I'm like, no, I just kind of need you to listen to me. So that's something I've learned this year. And it's okay when people come to me for me to say, I don't know. Because I feel like this year I had some people come to me even for biblical advice. And my immediate response is to be like, hey God, what does this mean? And like, it's okay to not know. It's okay if you haven't gotten that far yet. Like, it's okay to not know the answer, I guess. Number 3 is that there will be people that come into our lives who were meant to come into our lives, but they were also meant to be temporary. This one was a hard one for me this year. I met some people and watched some people go that once they walked in, I didn't want them to walk out. And it just makes me want to say, like, God, why would you bring them into my life just to bring them out just as quickly as they came in? But God sees his will from start to finish. He is completely outside of time. So whenever we have trouble with that, that's what I like to think about, is that God sees it all beginning to end. So even if I can't see why somebody's walking out of my life at that specific moment, God does. And one day I will be able to. So even though people do come into our lives and people do give us joy in that moment, they're temporary, but God's presence is not temporary, it's eternal. So it's really taught me to not put my love and my joy and my faith into people in my life because they could be temporary and I might not know it. Number 4 is that I don't always have to have it all together. So I feel like in the past I immediately think of going to school. Like, I put on my bravest face walking into school and I have my best smile on, say that I'm great. And even when people come to me and ask me how I'm doing and they're genuinely asking how I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I'm good. Because I've had it in my mind that I have to be okay because other people aren't okay. And in order for me to fix the not okay people, I have to have it all together. Like, I have to be great so that other people can eventually be great. But like, you can't pour from an empty well. If I'm just giving out pieces of me and I'm not feeding myself through God's word or feeding myself through even just like being present with myself, just like in my own mind and in my own spirit, like, that's not gonna work. Like, it's okay to not have it all together. It's okay to work on yourself before you even try to pick up the pieces in someone else's life. Number 5 is that there are seriously so many possibilities with what I can do with my life, and like so many different versions of myself that I could become, good and bad. So this past October, I went to New York City with my brother, my sister, and some friends. And there, like, I saw so many different kinds of beautiful people and like so many different places that I had just never seen or been in that atmosphere before, that I was like, there's so much more than just small town in Middle Tennessee. Like, there's so much more than just my population of 1,000 town. Like, there's so much more out there than what I have planned for myself that I didn't even see until like the second I left where I live. And it just really made me realize that God's plan for my life has to be so much bigger than my plan for myself. And that I really don't need to be small-minded. I feel like I keep turning every point into like a sermon for you, but this is literally a video about me. So, zone in, Lily. Okay. Number 6 is that whenever I go through something that's breaking my heart, I don't have to mend it right away. So I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with making myself appear okay and like having it all together. Like, I've had to learn pretty recently that like it's okay for your heart to be broken. Obviously, we're not meant to dwell there. Obviously, it's not meant to stay that way. But it's okay to go through it, because you can't get to the other side without going through it. Even Jesus wept. Like, Jesus went through it. Like, Jesus had emotions. He was a person. And so I don't know why I should limit myself to things that even Jesus went through. So like, as the days go on, I tell everybody that I'm okay. Like, I tell my mom and my friends, I'm like, I'm doing great. But it really gets dangerous for me when I start making myself think that I'm okay. Whenever I'm like, Lily, you're good. Like, you're okay. You're doing better. Because it's not true. Like, I can tell myself that it's true. I can feed myself those lies. But if I'm not looking at the problem and recognizing it as a problem, then I'm just going back to square one. And I honestly don't know how I'm going to mend myself. I know that it's going to be through Jesus. And I guess that's all I do need to know. So, moving on. Okay, number 7. This is one of my favorite ones. I've just had to tell myself when I go through things that if it won't matter in 6 months, stop stressing about it. And I first heard this phrase as if it won't matter in 5 years, stop stressing about it. So I ask myself that sometimes. It really depends on the problem. Like, if it's something small, it won't matter in 6 months. But even if it's something big, like boy drama, or like even drama with my friends, which rarely happens, I'm like, is this gonna matter in 5 years? Is this gonna matter when I'm 21 years old, almost 22? Cue Taylor's version. Like, will it matter then? Like, will it really matter? And when I ask myself that, the answer is 99.9% times no. Like, normally it's not gonna matter. Like, normally it's not that big of a deal. And if it is that big of a deal, like, God's peace has really been coming over me this year in a lot of ways. Like, I feel like I've gone through a lot of stuff this year, and first of all, don't let anyone tell you that you haven't been through stuff. Like, you can have the most picture perfect looking life and still mentally feel like you've gone through a lot. So I feel like I've gone through a lot this year. But even through it all, looking back, like, there was still this peace in my heart that everything was going to be okay. And looking back, like, I know that was 1,000,000% Jesus. Okay, number 8, I love this one too, is that every decision you make affects your life. Like, the fact that I'm filming this video affects my life. I just think it's like a really cool thing that I've realized. It's not even like a groundbreaking discovery, but it's kind of like the butterfly effect. I've seen it going around TikTok. Like, something I did 10 minutes ago that I don't even remember doing will affect me in 30 years because I did it. Like, genuinely every single action you take affects the entire outcome of your life. So I just think that's really cool, and it's something that I've been learning about this year. Number 9 is God's love. I want to make a whole separate video on this about what I've learned, but God has been teaching me so much about his heart and about his love for me and his love for his people and how God is love. And so all of the characteristics of love are the characteristics of God. It's just really so cool. I want to make a whole separate video about it, but God's love is just so overwhelmingly beautiful, and I just love it. Number 10 is how important unity is. And unity, I guess I could substitute the word family for that, like how important family is. And I don't just mean like your blood, but like your heart family, like who you feel like is family in your life, whether that's your best friends. For me, the first person I think of is my sister. And like, I don't know if I could have gotten through a lot of the things that I went through this year and in my entire life without her. And like, it's so important to not forget those people in your lives and to not take them for granted. Like, it's so crazy, like I said, how people can be temporary that you really thought were there forever. My sister's still here, but I'm just thinking about like how important she is in my life and how I would go crazy if she wasn't. So it's just really important to take in the people that are around you and to appreciate that and just to not take it for granted. So number 11 is, who am I putting my faith in? So looking back on this year, I can look at so many times that I've been so happy and that I have really had so many highs in my life, but then I look at all the lows and all the times that I feel like I've been let down. And I came to the realization about this like this week. I think I was on the phone with my grandma, like cleaning out my closet, just talking to her, and I was like, if I'm feeling let down by this person or by that person or by this group of people, then I had faith in them because they had to have something in my mind that I held up to them, and when they let me down, like my faith was gone. And so like I've been asking myself, who am I putting my faith in? Like, it's so important who you put your faith in, because then that's where your emotions lie, and your emotions can get so out of whack. And so like if I'm putting my faith in Jesus, everything else is gonna fall in line, because that's never gonna fall. So if my faith never falls, my emotions never fall. Well, not never, because we're imperfect people, but you know what I'm saying. Like if my faith is completely in Jesus, so many other things will start to go right in my life. 12 is that it's really fun to figure out who I am, and that I can be whoever I want to be. This kind of goes hand in hand with number 5, about how there's so many opportunities for my life, but like I feel like I've discovered so much about myself. I guess just discovering my own identity. Like I feel like in the past I've seen things like on social media or heard things about my age group or about girls or people saying specific things to me, and my brain, like my mind and my heart, has been so vulnerable that I automatically believe it. And if I do that, then I'm just going to be a mixture of everything that society is telling me I am, or a mixture of everything that everyone around me is telling me I'm supposed to be, when really I can just figure out who I want to be and who I need to be. And that's just been really fun for me this year, just to figure out who I am, and that I can really be whoever I want to be. And if I want to change something about myself, I can. Like I think it was last week, I just woke up and went on a run. Like I haven't went on a run in like 2 years, and I was like, I'm not a runner, like I can't just run, but like I did. Like I just got up and put on some shorts and ran. Like no one's stopping me from doing anything. Like YOLO, but also what would Jesus do? You know, like we're trying to find a good mixture here. Number 13 is that I have been finding myself in music and realizing how truly important the media that you put in is. Like listening to music, like I have a habit of listening to really sad music when I'm sad, so I need to work on that. But like starting your morning with either a good podcast or good music, or just silence, but like intentional silence to do what you need to do to give yourself a good day. I think it's so important, like what music you're listening to, because what goes in your ears eventually goes to your heart, and when it gets to your heart, that's what comes out of your mouth. So the way you speak to others, the way that you act, the way that you treat people, like the root of that is what's going in your ears. So if you're constantly around people that make you a bad person, or like if I'm constantly listening to music and maybe depressed, I'm going to speak depressing words. I'm going to speak things on other people that don't need to be spoken. And so like I've just learned that it's truly so important what you put in your ears. And I specifically said music because like I'm a musical person. Like I play the piano, I'm the worship leader at my church, so for me, I'm constantly listening to music, and so whatever music I put in my ears are so important. Also, since this is number 13, I also want to take this to dedicate it to Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift is the music industry, don't forget it. Number 14 can kind of go hand in hand with a couple of other ones, and it's to not get too comfortable in your situation. I first thought of Casey Musgrave's song Happy and Sad. Like as soon as things start going right, I get kind of this bittersweet feeling, because I'm like, things aren't always gonna be this way. Or like if I'm on a trip, or if I'm like, when I was in New York, I was sitting there and I was like, I need to take in this moment, because there's going to be a time when I'm sitting at home and I'm gonna miss it. And like that was kind of a sad moment, but also I was so overjoyed because I was in New York City. And so it's not that we shouldn't be comfortable where we are, but don't get so comfortable that you think things are never going to change, I guess. Number 15 is that God is not a circumstantial God, but people are circumstantial people. So what I mean by this is our circumstances here on earth are going to change, and they're going to suck because we live in a sucky world. We live in an imperfect world, and as long as we're living in an imperfect world, there are going to be imperfect situations and imperfect humans. Things are going to come at us that are not good and that are not worthy of praise and that are not worthy of joy, but that doesn't mean that God is any less good. Just because our circumstances change, our God doesn't change based on our circumstances. And even like me, like I'm such a circumstantial person, like something can change in the blink of an eye and I'm crying or I get broke down and I don't know what to do. But like God, like nothing surprises him. Like he's not going to be blown away by something that happens, or he's not going to be shocked and not know what to do. Like God is a good God, and he knows how to take care of his people just like a shepherd knows how to take care of his flock. Number 16 is that I'm so young and that I have so much left to learn. Even though I've gone through some rough seasons this year, I've gone through some really, really good seasons this year also. This has been one of the best and worst years of my life in many different ways. But I'm choosing to look at the good instead of the bad. And I'm looking forward to year 17 and what I can learn. This is the year. I already started thinking about it a little bit this past semester, but that I really got to start thinking about my future. And I'm really excited to see what God does with it, because I really want everything that I do just to be orchestrated by him. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to see where year 17 takes me. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Also, I haven't posted maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months. I'm not sure. But I'm here. I have new hair. My hair is dark brown. It was blonde last time you saw me. I always apologize whenever I say that I'm coming back after a break. But honestly, I'm not sorry, because like I kind of needed a break. And like I said, how I've learned, like it's okay to not have it all together. So it's okay that I've taken a break. You probably haven't even noticed if anyone's even watching this, if I choose to edit this. So yeah, but I love y'all. I will see y'all in my next video, whenever that may be. Be the reason someone smiles today. And yeah, here's to year 17.